Man, so I get up out the shower and I realized like, dang, last couple days I haven't really been getting like full rest. You know what I'm saying? And it's like I noticed that I nap and then they'll call like child or something. And it's like as soon as I get up, it's a little bit of rest, and I'm using that for the whole day. And then by the time I realize it, I'm doing it again. I get a little bit of rest, ciao, boom, I get up, and it's like that little bit of rest, and then I'm using that little bit of energy to take on my whole day. Somebody was like, "Time." Being that I kind of like cold turkey and I just stopped smoking, right? Ain't nobody really believed that I quit, like, and I just kind of been boxed in. So guy was like, "Hey man, you notice, man, you ain't been smoking in a while." I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Bro, you alright?" I'm like, "I'm alright. What you tripping about?" Like, and he kept like, "Yeah, look, man, you been real." And notice I've been coming off edgy. You know what I'm saying? I don't talk fast. I just speed my videos up because they be so lengthy. I had to speed them up a little bit so I can get the message and make the file smaller because it'll go to lagging. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't with the best quality phone or none of that. I was sitting here, man, and God gave me like a revelation. Still today. Like, so I was like, okay, I got the revelation for the day. All right, a righteous anger, right? Because at first I was thinking like, when is the appropriate time to be I kind of in a set upset or in a sense angry, you know what I mean? Not in like a mad type of way, like, or a chaotic type of way. It's just that, we can, as believers, we still can experience a sense of anger. And, there's a way to have express a healthy type of, what I would say, anger, only if you know or you have like, I would say, a real actual emotional, like if you're emotionally stable enough to where you know how to clothe yourself in a certain dramatic, or should I say, or suit yourself in a certain mood, right? Just to kind of give off an expression to where a person can kind of like comprehend, what you're expressing. And that's all in the form of being able to articulate yourself, even when you have to sometimes utilize just the expression of anger. You know what I'm saying? It's sometimes, in a sense, it can be necessary. It's like when I have to be firm with my child. I don't want to kind of spare the rod, and spoil my child. That's just like even when you're having friends. Sometimes you can come across a friend or have a friend, right? And this friend knows how kind you are and how somewhat, in a sense, passive you are. You know what I'm saying? Know how loving you are. And that friend can kind of use that to their advantage, knowing you, say, they come and ask the ball something, and then they up and keep what you let them ball, and then you just, all right, cuz, like, you know what I mean? Then turn around, they come and ask you to let them, you credit something, and they'll pay you back, and they never pay you back, and you just, all right, bruh. and they feel like it's just okay to do without no sense of courtesy, in a sense. Like, you just kind of, and then you start realizing, like, dang, you being too passive. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you have to draw a boundary with the, and you have to apply a little, you have to implement, that aspect of, being firm or being terse with the individual, man. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes it's necessary. That's why, I kind of posted a video about a righteous anger, but it was only to try to kind of like give a little insight on sometimes when it's necessary, especially when, you have to be a parent, or you have to be just, one who supervises, the household, I'm not going to just allow, any type of thing to just come in my house and just freely just do what it wishes. You know what I'm saying? And it still has to have some sense of an order, And just like, I'm okay with respecting, the gospel, in a sense. You know what I mean? People can take up whatever form of nobility they wish, and I'm not the type of person to contend with that. There's many different forms of nobility, you know what I mean? Just based off different type of, cultures and beliefs, different type of customs, you know what I'm saying? So I know how to have my respect in every variety of whatever a person believes, you know what I'm saying? And I still know how to have and find a mutual ground in a sense of knowing how to exchange or build off of it, you know what I'm saying? And that's where I kind of learned from the Messiah. And that's why I kind of understood what that number one commandment was, to love thy brother as you love yourself, because we are all the creation of God. And I just always stress, like, everything deserves loyalty. It's not something that you should kind of like relinquish biasly, you know what I mean? You shouldn't distribute your loyalty out in a biased sense. Like, everything deserves loyalty. Just like there's this fundamental basis of respect. You have to know how to operate in harmony with, all perspectives, because it's like this is how I look at things. I look at consciousness like there's many different aspects but to one conscience. It's like it's me and another person and another person and another person, but we're all still but one conscious. And my state of awareness is the foundation to all consciousness because of me having that understanding. So many people may not be built or fit enough to come into an exchange with information, with all different types of information. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not expecting all Christians to be able to just dive into a jungle or go into the Sahara Desert, or, you know what I'm saying? Know how to go to the most deepest part of the ocean, you know what I mean? And extract information, but I think the Messiah came as a diagram for us to be able to actually give us that feat to know how to actually operate in a universal sense. Well, we'll be able to digest the diversity of the world and know how to operate in harmony with that. And we have developed this, we started taking up the doctrine of others to where now we take this duality of good and bad, right and wrong, and we start applying and start not only because the law was only for us to judge ourselves, not others. I mean, you use that in order to discern, yeah, to know how far or the boundary in which you should indulge, yeah. You know what I'm saying? But there's a receptivity that is required in order to be able to personify or to, profess the good news for real. And many elders kind of, I feel like they overlook or miss that. So that's, my point all in itself. But I still want to express my point of conviction where I still, I'm always in repentance for whatever I fall short on servicing when it comes down to personifying the love of God, and I want to be more. Our duty is to, every man's duty, every human being's duty is, we're all called to articulate oneself. And it's all about being able to communicate. Because the job of an atom is to pass information from one atom to the next. And that's my duty. And I strive to be better at that. So, things may seem a little rocky and yeah, people may misinterpret or misunderstand some of the gestures that I may make in the world. But it's my responsibility to understand where they're coming from, I'm not requiring a person to be able to digest and understand where I am coming from. When, the person is of the world and they can only measure you based off of the tangible knowledge that they have amidst the world, that's the only thing they can come to a means about you or description concerning you. But you may be operating in a more spiritual or celestial aspect about, your exchange with the world that they may not comprehend. It's like saying a person is riding a bike to get to point A to point B. I might get on the bike to find out how the bike functions and operates. I may not have a designation of where I'm going from point A to point B. I just might want to just inspect what I'm utilizing. You understand? That's just like me wanting to just understand why people deal with certain things that they deal with, such as lust, greed, envy, many different vices, things that they deal with. And I find myself taking up the humility, surrendering myself to service, the love of God, and just to service. I'm learning how to articulate myself. So sometimes I have to surrender my reputation. I have to surrender, or I have to step outside of my morale and principles to a degree. Say I might hold to my dignity in an aspect where my belief will never waver, right? So if I'm indulging in something, or I may come in contact with something, or be in an environment where the terrain may be very difficult, and if I keep myself clothed in this type of attire, it may cost me my life. You know what I'm saying? So I might have to vacate my attire and clothe myself in a different attire in order to just overcome the terrain. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, you know, everybody's intentions or incentives are different. And some people will and may narrate based off of their own understandings. But I'm not here to wrestle with that. I'm only here to show how I can bring about revision within my own life and others. And sometimes I have to lead by an example. Sometimes it may take me having to show my faults. I have to show and disclose, you know, certain things that I'm in error about, and then have to show a person how to overcome it or come to some type of means behind it. And the only time that things will ever make sense or come to a just means is only through and by God. So if it's outside of, you know, the will of God, or if it's outside of glorifying God in whatever you're doing, it's going to be in vain. It's just period. And I can get deep in this revelation, but I mean, if I keep talking, I'm going to make this video in I guess the size a lot bigger, and it'll start lagging or whatever. And it'd be hard to operate, and I got to put in a lot of work. So it's like, man, I got to start learning how to get in the fragments, or I'm going to need like a bigger camera or something. Like, yeah, another thing, like, I wanted to write my book, right? But some keep telling me my book is going to be written when I open my mouth. So I got to open my mouth. Like, I got to just, all my writing over the years has been trampled upon, torn up. You know what I'm saying? They just disrespect my property every time I go to putting things on paper. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay. That's why I started putting a lot of things about my life on social media, or just on Instagram, because I figure like, well, you know, I have to write my story somehow. I have to write my book somehow. So my book has to be in action. Now, if I come across somebody like a scribe or something in my life that's willing to write it for me and do that, yeah, man, I'm gonna put it down, bro. Like, but right now, you know, I don't have the necessary resources to get everything out the way I want it. So it's like, hey, maybe I need to just press record, start writing my book this way. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's like it's a better way for people to actually, you know, participate or digest the message, because sometimes people don't have time to sit down and read and flip pages. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes people just need to see it. You know what I mean? So you witnessed me showing an aspect of anger, and I had to show some aspects of me in frustration, because you know, some people, you know, a lot of people who are in positions don't know how to balance their real life and nobility out. You know what I'm saying? I mean, people be dealing with stuff too, man, in positions, man, in high places, man. And sometimes, man, they'll be caught realizing like, man, I'm here upholding, you know, traditions and customs that were perverse, that from those that were before me, and now I've come to the acknowledgement like, dang, and it's not, I gotta be stuck here upholding something that is totally outside of my principles and beliefs. Like, I mean, I don't feel good about what, but I gotta keep the system going. Like, that's not how, and it's like I'm trying to show you that you can always take those things, and it can always be used for the greater good, for the lessons of how, showing people how to grow out of that and bring about revision, man. And yeah, man, like, we're all gonna deal with things. We're gonna always find ourselves dealing with certain things in life, and you gotta know, how to communicate right. And sometimes we all still learning. We don't know everything. People gonna feel like we got it all figured out, but still yet you contain all this knowledge to still realize you're still dependent on needing to know more or having to obtain more because you don't know everything. And it's because you feel like you obtain all this sacred knowledge and information that you want to withhold from the masses and stuff like that, and you still find yourself in dissatisfaction, or you still find yourself with insecurity because that knowledge never provided you with the security you needed. You're going to still find yourself having to look for other ways to fend against nature and the universe and having to survive and live on, man. If you don't come to your senses soon, humanity is going to be at a crisis where nature and the universe is going to require us to work together and come together and operate with one mind. And don't wait till it's too late. Don't be intimidated by other higher powers and forces that you think has a dominance over us as a human race, man. There's still a boundary. So you must understand that your inhale and exhale is still provided by God. You know what I'm saying? It's still provided by God. God is still everything is still under authorized provision. God's authorized provision. And there are only boundaries, but so far your will can go as long as other entities. But so far that they can operate. Don't be deceived by those who obtain more information than you. Don't be deceived by that exploitation of knowledge. I know you may feel binded by it. It's like no way out. Just understand that there is a God, and you must trust God in stepping forth. You gotta trust God. You gotta know that there is a God that has more control and dominance over anything that ever exists. You know what I'm saying? You step out there with that trust in God. So there's something that I learned after this that I would like to share. It was like my confirmation to this whole message. And it's like, God, did I do anything wrong? And I know you may question like, hey, am I outside of your favor right now? And I want you to realize that, yeah, we all called to repent. As in saying, acknowledging our iniquities, that's the actual duty of a saint. A saint is to vow to forever repent for our iniquities. That's the duty of a saint. And as long as you uphold that accountability, it's not saying, okay, I know I'm doing wrong, I'm gonna forgive, ask for forgiveness because I know I'm about to do wrong. No, it's just saying that I acknowledge my faults and I have that heart to want to be better and become better, to nullify whatever faults that I do have, right? And you ever feel like God, am I going in the wrong direction by wanting to promote, your intentions solely? And did I do anything wrong in my mannerism of promoting your intentions, God? Sometimes you gotta still uphold that trust in God, knowing like, hey, my true desire is to personify your love and to be a good essence of God's creation, Yeah, I mean, we all gonna deal with things, but take up that humility to accept the correction, acknowledge where you may be at fault, be okay with that, understand that, you're still learning, you are still coming to. This is but the acknowledgement of God. There is more to be revealed about God that you know not. And you got to be receptive enough to be able to coax your mind with the absolute identity of God. So that's what's going on right now. And I'm just having to share this with you real quick because this really means a lot right now. But I read something in 1 Samuel, chapter 14. Oh man, that guy Jonathan, man. Yeah, that was a great point of confirmation for me. And you gotta step out scribing with knowing that your intentions, those good intentions you got, all those good intentions that you actually have can still be sought for. Continue to promote the intentions of God. Don't vacate your promises with God. Don't vacate your intentions. Those good intentions that you have. Don't vacate that because, you fall short in a sense. So you feel like, dang, you got to commit yourself to just imperfection. No, you strive to that trustworthiness. You are trustworthy. Even though you may not be trusting, you are trustworthy in God's eyes. You are worthy. So with that being said, you live in the perfection, even in your imperfections. So that's my cue, man. They say in lockdown, I think that's more than enough, man. And I hope you can digest something. But I love you, man. Keep your head, keep moving forward. But I pray this message that I'm about to reveal is more than enough for you to keep pressing forward.
Verse 14. Now it came to pass upon a day that Jonathan the son of Saul said unto the young man that bare his armor, Come, and let us go to the Philistines' garrison that is on the other side. But he told not his father. And Saul tarried in the uttermost part of Gibeah, under a pomegranate tree which is in Migron. And the people that were with him were about 600 men. And Ahiah, the son of Ahitub, Ichabod's brother, the son of Phinehas, the son of Eli, the Lord's priest in Shiloh, wearing an ephod. And the people knew not that Jonathan was gone. And between the passages, by which Jonathan sought to go over unto the Philistines' garrison, there was a sharp rock on the one side, and a sharp rock on the other side. And the name of the one was Bozez, and the name of the other Sinai. The forefront of the one was situate northward over against Michmash, and the other southward over against Gibeah. And Jonathan said to the young men that bare his armor, Come, and let us go over unto the garrison of these uncircumcised. It may be that the Lord will work for us, for there is no restraint to the Lord to save by many or by few. And his armor-bearer said unto him, Do all that is in thine heart, turn thee, behold, I am with thee according to thine heart. Then said Jonathan, Behold, we will pass over unto these men, and we will discover ourselves unto them. If they say thus unto us, Tarry until we come to you, then we will stand still in our place, and will not go up unto them. But if they say thus, Come up unto us, then we will go up, for the Lord hath delivered them into our hand, and they shall be a sign unto us. And both of them discovered themselves unto the garrison of the Philistines. And the Philistines said, Behold, the Hebrews come forth out of the holes where they had hid themselves. And the men of the garrison answered Jonathan and his armor-bearer, and said, Come up to us, and we will show you a thing. And Jonathan said unto his armor-bearer, Come up after me, for the Lord hath delivered them into the hand of Israel. And Jonathan climbed up upon his hands and upon his feet, and his armor-bearer after him, and they fell before Jonathan, and his armor-bearer slew after him. And that first slaughter which Jonathan and his armor-bearer made was about 20 men, within as it were an half acre of land, which a yoke of oxen might plow. And there was trembling in the host, in the field, and among all the people. The garrison and the spoilers, they also trembled, and the earth quaked. So it was a very great trembling. And the watchmen of Saul and Gibeah of Benjamin looked, and behold, the multitude melted away, and they went on beating down one another. Then said Saul unto the people that were with him, Number now, and see who is gone from us. When they had numbered, behold, Jonathan and his armor-bearer were not there. And Saul said unto Ahiah, Bring hither the ark of God. For the ark of God was at that time with the children of Israel. And it came to pass, while Saul talked unto the priest, that the noise that was in the host of the Philistines went on and increased. And Saul said unto the priest, Withdraw thine hand. And Saul and all the people that were with him assembled themselves. And they came to the battle. And behold, every man's sword was against his fellow, and there was a very great discomfiture. Moreover, the Hebrews that were with the Philistines before that time, which went up with them into the camp from the country round about, even they also turned to be with the Israelites that were with Saul and Jonathan. Likewise all the men of Israel, which had hid themselves in Mount Ephraim, when they heard that the Philistines fled, even they also followed hard after them in the battle. So the Lord saved Israel that day. And the battle passed over unto Bethaven, and the men of Israel were distressed that day. For Saul had adjured the people, saying, Cursed be the man that eateth any food until evening, that I may be avenged on mine enemies. So none of the people tasted any food. And all they of the land came to a wood, and there was honey upon the ground. And when the people were come into the wood, behold, the honey dropped. But no man put his hand to his mouth, for the people feared the oath. But Jonathan heard not when his father charged the people with the oath. Wherefore he put forth the end of the rod that was in his hand, and dipped it in an honeycomb, and put his hand to his mouth, and his eyes were enlightened. Then answered one of the people, and said, Thy father straitly charged the people with an oath, saying, Cursed be the man that eateth any food this day. And the people were faint. Then said Jonathan, My father hath troubled the land. See, I pray you, how mine eyes have been enlightened, because I tasted a little of this honey. How much more, if haply the people had eaten freely today of the spoil of their enemies which they found? For had there not been now a much greater slaughter among the Philistines? And they smote the Philistines that day, from Michmash to Ailon. And the people were very faint. And the people flew upon the spoil, and took sheep and oxen and calves, and slew them on the ground. And the people did eat them with the blood. Then they told Saul, saying, Behold, the people sin against the Lord, in that they eat with the blood. And he said, Ye have transgressed. Roll a great stone unto me this day. And Saul said, Disperse yourselves among the people, and say unto them, Bring me hither every man his ox, and every man his sheep, and slay them here, and eat, and sin not against the Lord in eating with the blood. And all the people brought every man his ox with him that night, and slew them there. And Saul built an altar unto the Lord. The same was the first altar that he built unto the Lord. And Saul said, Let us go down after the Philistines by night, and spoil them until the morning light, and let us not leave a man of them. And they said, Do whatsoever seemeth good unto thee. Then said the priest, Let us draw near hither unto God. And Saul asked counsel of God, Shall I go down after the Philistines? Wilt thou deliver them into the hand of Israel? But he answered him not that day. And Saul said, Draw ye near hither, all the chief of the people, and know and see wherein this sin hath been this day. For as the Lord liveth, which saveth Israel, though it be in Jonathan my son, he shall surely die. But there was not a man among all the people that answered him. Then said he unto all Israel, Be ye on one side, and I and Jonathan my son will be on the other side. And the people said unto Saul, Do what seemeth good unto thee. Therefore Saul said unto the Lord God of Israel, Give a perfect lot. And Saul and Jonathan were taken, but the people escaped. And Saul said, Cast lots between me and Jonathan my son. And Jonathan was taken. Then Saul said to Jonathan, Tell me what thou hast done. And Jonathan told him and said, I did but taste a little honey with the end of the rod that was in mine hand, and lo, I must die. And Saul answered, God do so and more also, for thou shalt surely die, Jonathan. And the people said unto Saul, Shall Jonathan die, who hath wrought this great salvation in Israel? God forbid, as the Lord liveth. There shall not one hair of his head fall to the ground, for he hath wrought with God this day. So the people rescued Jonathan, that he died not. Then Saul went up from following the Philistines, and the Philistines went to their own place. So Saul took the kingdom over Israel, and fought against all his enemies on every side, against Moab, and against the children of Ammon, and against Edom, and against the kings of Zobah, and against the Philistines. And whithersoever he turned himself, he vexed them. And he gathered an host, and smote the Amalekites, and delivered Israel out of the hands of them that spoiled them. Now the sons of Saul were Jonathan and Ishuai, and Melch-Ishuai. And the names of his two daughters were these, the name of the firstborn Merab, and the name of the younger Michal. And the name of Saul's wife was Ahinoam, the daughter of Ahimaaz. And the name of the captain of his host was Abner, the son of Ner, Saul's uncle. And Kish was the father of Saul, and Ner, the father of Abner, was the son of Abiel. And there was sore war against the Philistines all the days of Saul. And when Saul saw any strong man or any valiant man, he took him unto him.